When inspecting a home, the first thing I like to do is survey the exterior of the property. I also survey the interior of the property to see if there are any areas of discoloration or compromised areas. When inspecting the exterior envelope of a home, I like to start with windows, doors, and exterior penetrations, which can allow water to enter the premises. I like to take my time and assess each window and door to make sure that the transitions are sealed properly. I also take a look around any utility boxes, hose bibs for exterior water access. I also take a look at property transition seams. Here we're taking a look at the base perimeter of the wall to be sure that there are no cracks where water can get down into the foundation. Be sure to check the entire exterior of the property where the wall meets the substrate, which is concrete. Here we're taking a look around the hose bib to make sure that water cannot get in behind the actual secured plate to the wall. You also want to take a look at the entire window frame installation. Be sure that everything is sealed properly with silicone caulking. Also take a look at the surrounding wall area. If you're looking at brick, be sure that there are no voids or areas that are cracking. Here we're looking at missing mortar joints. This is called brick pointing. Always be sure that you don't see any of these voids on your wall, or else water can get in behind them and cause interior water incursion. Again, we're looking at the base perimeter of the wall. Here we found a large void where water can enter directly into the foundation behind the basement wall. Be sure to inspect these areas, which is a common point for water infiltration. Here we're observing a fissure crack in the stucco application. This can lead to extensive disrepair in the future and also water incursion behind the finished envelope. Here we're taking a look at the mansard roof on the property. When zoomed in, you can see that there's a large void where the material transitions to the parapet roof. This area has to be sealed with 100% silicone. Our inspection has moved to the roof area. Here we're inspecting the parapet cap of the pilot house roof. This is a very important area to inspect to be sure that water is not entering at the highest level, which can deposit all the way down to the basement. It's very important to inspect these areas closely at the roof level. Here I'm performing a thermal imaging assessment on the roof to be sure that there are no weak points or water incursion under the finished substrate. Another thing that I'm taking a look at and paying close attention to is each connection for the railing system, which offers an opportunity for water incursion as well. Here we're taking a look at the material transition seam from the vinyl siding installation to the parapet cap. You'll see that I'm paying close attention to wherever one material transitions to another. This is the easiest place for leaks to occur. You'll notice that transitions are being checked closely at the base of the wall, the top of the wall, and sides of the wall that meet with other materials. Here, once again, we're taking a look at all fasteners for the railing system. We have to be sure that each post is properly sealed, or standing water will be able to penetrate and enter the roof system below. You'll notice close attention being paid to inspecting the caulking around this doorway. Small areas and voids can easily cause water to get behind the door frame system and rot the lumber. Make sure you check the entire door on all 4 sides. Sometimes it's actually best to get down at the door level of the bottom of the threshold so that you can view if there are any issues. Here, once again, we're taking a look at an exterior hose bib to be sure that it won't freeze in winter, which can easily cause interior water damage. Here, we're inspecting the other side of the wall, which should actually have an access panel installed to easily access the hose bib during wintertime. During the course of inspecting your roof, you also want to inspect any adjoined roofs. Here we can see much disrepair on the adjoined neighboring property, which can easily cause interior water damage on your property. You always want to be sure that your water issues are not being caused by an adjoined or neighboring property. Take time to inspect all areas. We're continuing the roof level inspection towards the interior of the home. This is the interior side of the exterior pilot house. We're double checking to be sure that there is no points of water incursion at this level. The area is thoroughly being scanned with the thermal imaging camera to be sure there are no hidden pockets of moisture, and this will continue throughout the interior of the property. We're also checking for nail holes or any fasteners that you notice popping out of the wall. This is an indication of moisture damage going on behind the wall or improperly fastened drywall. Here, we're providing a thermal imaging scan for the area that was noticed to have excessive nail popping. In this case, it was just faulty drywall installation. No moisture was found or present behind the wall system. Scanning this ceiling area, I was able to find out that the home is under insulated. So the block that we're looking at that's displaying purple is actually missing insulation. Here we're starting our bathroom inspection. We're making sure that all plumbing systems operate properly and all drain systems are operating. We're making sure that there are no leaks coming from any plumbing fixtures, there's no excessive sediment buildup, and also that plumbing supply lines are operating correctly. Here, we're inspecting the collar of the drain to make sure that there is no separation between couplings. This is a very common mistake because this area is hard to access. Be sure that everything is sealed properly and connected properly. Here you will notice that we're performing a water stop test. It's always good to fill each plumbing fixture and let it overflow to be sure that the drain system is in working order. So here we've just finished completing our water stop test. We allowed the basin to fill up with water, and now we let the stop out. Be sure that you don't notice any drips coming from the drain system, and then you're clear to go. Be sure to inspect your toilets as well. Make sure that the system is in proper working order by flushing the toilet and making sure that the basin fills properly. Also make sure that you don't notice any leaks coming from around the toilet system once you flush the toilet. Do it a few times just to make sure. Here we're inspecting the tile installation. Compromised grouting is one of the largest issues in bathroom water incursion. If your grout or silicone is not applied properly, water can easily get under the tile substrate and cause long-term damage, mold, and fungus issues within the finished shower area. Another point is to be sure that corners are never grouted. They always should be sealed with silicone sealant to be sure that they can expand and contract properly and naturally. Check each grout joint to be sure that there are no compromised areas. When inspecting bedrooms, I always start with the windows. Windows will present the most opportunity for water to get in. So I always start my inspections there, being sure that I check the window headers, jambs, and sill, which is all four sides of the window. If possible, open the window and get a clearer view of the exterior condition. Be sure that all material transitions are sealed properly with 100% silicone caulking. Also, scan your windows with a thermal imaging camera to be sure there aren't hidden pockets of air or moisture. When scanning exterior walls, I inspect from floor to ceiling to be sure that there are no hidden pockets of moisture or water. Where air can get in, water can get in. Always remember that during your inspection. Here we're scanning the soffit area, which usually hides an HVAC duct. HVAC ducts are one of the most compromised installations within a home due to how easy duct tape removes from the actual duct seam, causing any condensation to pool and then be able to deposit within the wall system. Always scan your soffits to be sure that there are no hidden pockets of moisture. Our next area of inspection is our HVAC unit itself. We want to make sure that all plumbing connections are properly installed and sealed. Here you will notice I'm giving special attention to all drain system pipes. We notice sediment tracks on the pipe, which caused us to want to inspect further. Once again, we're checking all connections, so wherever each connection is, you want to closely inspect to be sure that there is no condensation buildup, which can easily occur at this system. Here is our outlet for any water to dump into our excess box. You'll notice excessive condensation on this unit, and always have to remember this is the same condensation that can be hiding behind finished walls. This is why it's very important to inspect the entire HVAC system, including any soffits. We were able to catch the unit actually during its working process, removing water from the excess basin. This gives us an opportunity to make sure that this is in proper working order and that the excess box does not overflow. Here we have a laundry manifold box connection. This area has to be closely inspected due to the tedious nature of its connections. Be sure that all supply lines are properly connected and the drain connection is properly installed. Here we're inspecting a laundry drain. This area does not regularly come in contact with water and is only meant as an emergency drain if the laundry system overflows. Still, be sure to properly inspect this area to be sure that if water enters it, it will drain properly. This bedroom is connected to a walkout deck that is currently experiencing water incursion. Here you will notice us paying special attention to sealant application around the doorway, which is actually done properly. So this is not our area of concern, but this is what a caulk door should look like. This is a scupper box. Scupper boxes are responsible for diverting all water on your roof substrate. If you can imagine, all the rain that hits your roof is coming through this drain system. This is a very important part of the home that you want to perform a detailed inspection on to be sure that there are no gaps, the caulking is applied properly, and that everything is fastened. This area can easily lead to interior water incursion, causing major issues. Here we found one of the culprits allowing water into the interior bedroom we're inspecting. Something this small can allow water to deposit behind finished walls, causing mold, mildew, or fungus behind the finished wall system. Here we've inspected an improper scupper box application. So instead of applying an actual scupper box, they've installed a pipe, which is an outlet for any water stuck on the roof system. This can easily cause interior water incursion because it's an improper installation. Always be on the lookout for proper finish work. Here we're viewing a mansard roof transition. You'll notice that there's missing brick pointing on the actual brick application. There's also a large void where the mansard roof cap overshoots the actual brick installation. This has caused a 3-inch gap where birds, squirrels, water can enter the property. Again, we have a lower level parapet cap. Instead of a proper scupper box, you can see that 4-inch PVC pipe is being used to disperse any water that collects on the deck area. You'll also notice that there are hairs sticking out inside the pipe from the fiberglass roofing application. This area requires sealant where the two materials between the fiberglass roof and the PVC pipe transition. This is the exterior view of the improper scupper box installation. An easily forgotten area is behind refrigerators. Water lines can easily kink or be rolled over by the actual refrigerator when installing it. Be sure to check all connections, the condition of the pipe, and the connection at the wall to be sure that everything is installed properly and in working order. Here, just to be sure that there are no leaks, once again we're scanning the area with our thermal imaging camera. You'll notice that the thermal imaging camera comes in handy on a majority of your inspection. Here we're at the basement level of the home, which will provide us an opportunity to inspect the foundation. Foundations are one of the most common compromised areas of the home and introduce water into the finished wall system. Here we're inspecting the water main system. This is the inlet pipe that comes from the exterior of the home and provides water to the entire house. You want to be sure that this pipe is in working order because it can easily cause mold or fungus to grow if the pipe is constantly dripping. This is your plumbing main drain cleanout. Always inspect this area to be sure that the cleanout cap is tightly installed. If not, water can easily come out of this area, causing overflow within the basement area. Here, we're scanning our basement walls to be sure that there are no hidden areas or pockets of moisture, especially since we noticed that there are base perimeter issues from earlier in our video. There are gaps all around the exterior base perimeter of this property, so we have to take special care when scanning the interior. We're noticing temperature variance behind this wall, which leads us to further inspect the area. There's also an egress present, which can easily introduce area into this basin. Once again, you check all sides of your window, including your header, your sill, and your jambs. So here we have noticed major issues allowing water to deposit within the interior wall of the home every time it rains. You can notice that there's a large void at the base of the window, which will easily allow all water standing in the basin to drain and deposit within the home. Continuing the inspection, we found large gaps and voids which definitely allow water to deposit behind the wall system. This area will require major repair to bring it up to code. Here we're inspecting the plumbing manifold. This is where all plumbing lines for the entire home come into one unit to be controlled for the entire house. I want to be sure that all connections are properly made and I don't notice any drips or sediment tracks coming from any of the plumbing lines. It also gives me the opportunity to check insulation around the area to be sure that it's dry and free from any moisture. So even though we're performing a water inspection, these are gas lines. I'm also able to make sure that they are in proper working order and there are no gas leaks coming from any connections. Here we're inspecting the water heater. I want to be sure that all connections are properly made, all areas are dry, and there are no sediment tracks at any connection. Each pipe is closely inspected. You also want to inspect the actual body of the water heater. The most important part to inspect is the basin. If you notice any rust or compromised areas, your water heater needs replacement. This is very important because if it fails, it can easily flood your basement. This home has 2 HVAC units, and this unit was installed for the basement and first level of the home. I want to be sure, the same way I inspected upstairs, that everything is draining properly. Here, you want to be sure that all plumbing drains are properly connected and tied in. Even though our inspection is water-based, we're also able to inspect the electrical system to be sure that there are no breakers overheating. This can easily lead to a fire. Here we're at one of our properties that is experiencing interior water damage, just to show what can possibly happen if areas are not properly inspected. So here is the interior view of damage that was caused over a long-term period and was hidden behind finished drywall. This has actually led to structural damage, which is very expensive to repair. This is the entire reason that we're putting this video together, so that you can avoid issues like this. This area alone will cost the homeowner somewhere between $100,000 to $120,000 to properly repair. Again, this is why it's advantageous to know how to inspect all properties that you plan on purchasing or have some type of investment in for your client. The entire rear corner of this home will have to be removed. There will literally be a hole in this wall where you can view the exterior. This is major structural damage. This interior water damage was caused because of improperly applied sealant and water that was entering through a scupper box at the roof level. Once again, this is why it's very important to pay close attention to these two areas, along with the rest of your home, but especially to scupper boxes, because they are responsible for dispersing all water that hits your roof system. In this case, the homeowner will have to not only replace part of their roof, but also the interior framing that holds up the roof, which makes this job an entire structural nightmare. Avoid nightmares by knowing how to properly inspect your property.